Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
Welcome to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, where in a single moment you can recognize your brilliance and change your life. This is a transformational hour that covers an array of topics that each demonstrate how individuals use their native talents, as shown in their name, to look at the ordinary in extraordinary ways. Now, Albert Einstein once said that everybody is a genius. Why would one of the smartest people on the planet declare that everyone is a genius unless he knew that to be true? I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and in each weekly show, you get to hear the fascinating ways that people have discovered the genius in themselves and what they were able to accomplish because of it. Now, at the end of tonight's show, you'll hear clues on how you can recognize your own innate genius. Now, our genius guest tonight is Jonathan Bengel. Now, Jonathan Bengel is the founder of JB Financial, Phoenix Renaissance Orchestra, and Naked Tax Talk. He is an IRS Enrolled Agent, certified tax planner, and a certified tax coach. For over 15 years as a Chief Tax Strategist, he created a multi-six-figure business, created jobs, and saved hundreds of thousands of dollars for his clients. Now today, entrepreneurs hire him as their Chief Tax Specialist because most lack the right tax strategies, the right deductions, and write-offs, so they continue to overpay grossly and under-deduct. Now, he helps them unlock the mystery of taxation, uncover legal loopholes, and reveal missed opportunities to free up cash and create residual cash year after year. Bottom line, his clients grow, develop, and pay less to the IRS. Welcome to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You radio show, Jonathan.
Well, thank you so much for having me on as a guest.
Jonathan, I'm thrilled to have you on because we all want to know how to save money with taxes. So I've broken up each segment into different type of questions. But First, I want to know what happened in your life that caused you to get interested in taxes in the first place?
You know, what's so funny is that I wasn't actually supposed to be a tax specialist. I was supposed to be a teacher, and I was ultimately supposed to become a speaker. And so the world of taxes came about. Now that I think about it, it all started when I was in university. And one of my friends that I had met became my mentor, and he had posed one I find rather simple question, and he had said, Jonathan, do you want to be poor your whole life? And what I must preface here is saying that I am a product of extreme poverty. So I grew up with almost no means. My mother had an extremely low fixed income of $500 a month, and that's what two boys and a mother would live off of. And so sometimes we didn't have places to live, sometimes we didn't have food, sometimes we didn't have clothing. And so this was my existence, my entire childhood and through my teenage years. And so when my friend asked this question, it shocked me to the core because I didn't want to be poor ever again. And so out of extreme fear, I ended up taking a class in accounting and got my degree in business accounting. And it came so easily to me that as a result of that, you end up kind of like going and working for firms. And next thing you know it, you're working in the tax division. And it just came so easy to me that I just really started to enjoy this idea of understanding the complexities of tax law. And more important, I started getting really excited knowing that at the end of the day, the government doesn't want our money if we're self-employed and or for business owners. And that's a hard concept for a lot of people to understand and to believe. But what I've come to understand is that that's the truth. The government doesn't want our money. In fact, it relies on experts like ourselves to legally find ways to help people save money. And so
right. That's very hard to believe. They don't want our money. What led you to that belief?
So it's twofold. So one is that the General Accounting Office, which is a government-sanctioned subdivision of the government, so to speak, basically released a statement saying that Americans overpay by $1 billion a year in unnecessary taxes as a result of them doing it themselves or relying on other tax preparers and the errors that are made. So that's one. So you've got an actual office saying people are overpaying. And then secondly, what I mean by the government doesn't want our money, in the sense, what I mean by this is the government rewards us as if you're a business owner, and this is for like the business owner out there or the business owner who wants to become a business owner. It rewards us in the sense that it understands that we are taking a risk to create a business. And so it rewards us, quote unquote, by allowing us to deduct from that gross revenue expenses and deductions that it takes in order to minimize our taxes at year end legally. And the government is perfectly okay with this. In fact, when you make an error on your return, sometimes you get a lovely letter that says you overpaid and here's a refund check. Sometimes it's the opposite, of course, and you made a mistake and now you owe us more. But usually it's the opposite. People are just making mistakes on their returns.
So what kind of a background does anyone need if they want to do what you're doing?
So there used to be this joke in our industry, and they used to say that anybody can prepare your taxes. Actually, they used the phrase "monkeys can prepare tax returns," and this is something that I'll preface by saying right now that as an IRS enrolled agent, so I've been licensed by the Internal Revenue Service to represent clients before the IRS in all matters as it relates to your tax issues. And then secondly, as a certified tax coach and as a certified tax planner, what we do is we find a way to proactively work with you so that you are actually paying the fair amount of taxes that you are entitled to pay at the end of the year. So what does it take to become a tax expert? Quite honestly, it takes somebody who has the tenacity and the desire to constantly learn. It takes somebody who fundamentally believes that taxes is not just about checking the box and signing your name to it and then having a great day. Taxes is truly about understanding that it is fundamental to who we are as a person and as a business owner.
So, quickie questions, because this is going to be on everybody's mind. The average entrepreneur, when they go to pay a tax person like yourself, what do they need to budget and able to pay somebody like you what's the average, so that at least they can budget, so they can go, okay, if I have this much set aside, I can get somebody else to do my taxes for me.
That's a great question. Okay, so let's talk about that. So most of us are used to this notion that at the end of the year, I take, and I'll use this terrible analogy, but I take a box full of receipts and I take it to a tax preparer. And that's exactly what a tax preparer does. They take your information, they compile it, they put it together, and then they transmit this information over to a tax return, which then goes to the government, and they tell you how much you owe or how much you're going to get back. And that's as good as it gets. So a tax preparer, you'll spend anywhere from, maybe $300 to, upwards from there. Now, the difference with us as certified tax planners and certified tax coaches is that we fundamentally believe in working with our clients on a month-to-month basis to make sure that they are planning for the future by year end, to make sure that they're going to pay their fair amount that they're required to pay or that they're entitled to pay. And so someone like myself, a specialist like me, it's hard to say what our fees range, but the better way to put it is that when you work with a tax planner like ourselves, you are investing in your business to get the results that you're wanting versus it's a cost of doing business.
Right. Now, if someone, I'm just going to do this for all business owners out there, for someone, if they can say, I have the receipts and I know that I spent this much in this category, that much in that category, and they can give it like a Quicken program or something like that that's already all spelled out. Does that help the entrepreneur save money when it goes to spending for somebody to do their taxes for them?
Oh, man, that's a loaded question. My industry will probably hate me based on my comments here, but so the truth of the matter is that a business owner that is tracking their own stuff themselves, majority of them don't really understand, and I don't want to say that because that's a terrible statement, but most don't really know exactly what it is they're deducting and how they're deducting things. And oftentimes you get people that will come in with misconceptions of what is taxable, what isn't taxable, what's deductible, what's not deductible. And so we actually spend a lot of time educating our clients and explaining to them why it's income in this particular year, or why they can deduct it, or why they can't deduct it. So the answer is that, yeah, if you was already done in a program like Quicken or Intuit's products, or which I think is Quicken's an Intuit product, but if you bring that stuff already prepared and ready to go, and you just want someone just to plug in numbers, and that's it. You can just use TurboTax. I mean, TurboTax for business, because the effect is the same. Now, the big difference, though, when you come in and you work with someone like myself.
Hold on to that big difference. I want you to hold on to that idea, because we need to stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which is also heard on xzbn.net, that network, and knowthename.com. There is a link on the schedule page. And after the break, we're going to find out answers to commonly asked tax questions. So stay tuned so you can find out how to save yourself some money on taxes.
It's hard to listen to the news without realizing we're living in volatile, unprecedented times. Yet never has there been such an opportunity to transform the human condition. As old structures fail, where can we find the guidance to co-create a better way? Find Your Path Home is an ever-evolving, leading-edge information, education, and healing resource center designed to support and guide you on your path to unity and enlightenment. Based on sound principles employed by shamans worldwide, we provide techniques that can support you through the current transitions, offering online shamanic classes, international long-distance shamanic healing sessions, complimentary Mission Evolution radio episodes and Stairway to Heaven TV vignettes, seminars, retreats, and much more. All of this can be found on findyourpathhome.com.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me. simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
Path Home Shamanic Art School proudly presents the Gathering of Shaman 2019 Fall Retreat, Manifestation Samhain. Join me, certified shamanic instructor Gwilda Wiyaka, in the magnificent Colorado Mountains this November 2nd and 3rd for a life-changing event. Participate in unique teachings and ceremonies that'll put the power and magic of shamanic manifestation into your hands. Sit in circle with like-minded individuals, sharing group energy and the power it generates. Classes will be held in a facility next to the beautiful, majestic Arkansas River, further empowering the experience. Space is limited, so reserve your spot today. For more information, visit findyourpathhome.com or email touchin@findyourpathhome.com.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which is being heard on xzbn.net and knowthename.com schedule page. Now, our guest tonight is Jonathan Bengel, whose website is nakedtaxtalk.com. Okay, Jonathan, right before the break, you were ready to tell us what the difference was between somebody doing their taxes themselves and somebody getting to work with somebody like you.
Yeah, absolutely. And just by the and I want to just clarify one thing really fast from the time of this airing. My website, we're literally going through a whole new rebranding right now. So the site is down at the moment. So it will be back up.
Okay.
So, but otherwise, your viewers and listeners, can also check out my tax planning company, which is JB Financial, and it's jbfinancialllc.com. And we could talk about Naked Tax Talk and why that came out later. But let me tell you the big difference between a tax preparer and a tax planner like myself. So you said earlier, business owners, they could just have their financials ready to go. They what's the difference between you and basically do it yourself? And I said, you could do it yourself if you already have your financials. But where a professional like myself really come into play is that we want to know everything about you. And we will have a lot of people to share a lot of interesting things with us, and rightfully so. And so the more that we know about you and your business and why you created it and the different types of things that you do in your business and stuff like that, someone like me, we're thinking of ways in which we know for a fact that we can legally deduct more deductions, or that we can find a way to unlock the mystery of the taxes behind what it is you're trying to do, or we're thinking of ways to uncover legal loopholes. So is it, do we create new companies from the same company you have? Or are we thinking to ourselves, what are the missed opportunities that were missed out on because they've done it themselves for so long? Or like I said, they just went to a tax preparer and had the taxes processed.
Okay, so just some basic questions for this segment that
Sure.
I think most people would ask or not know, okay, on their own.
Sure.
How would an individual know if they needed to pay quarterly individual tax payments versus just once a year?
Oh man, these are good questions. Okay, so it all depends. And I laugh like this and I say it depends because it does depend. It really genuinely really depends on the individual. This is why most, and this is why I'm going to dare say all business owners need to work with tax planners, because we on an individual basis can determine that for them. Now the rules are that if you are in fact and again, for the tax experts out there listening to this episode, I do not profess to know everything and memorized everything. So with that being said, the rules are that you have to pay in the hands of the government. You've got to give them basically 100% or 90%, one of those two numbers, by the next following calendar year from when you file your tax returns. And that monies need to be deposited to the government. Otherwise, they penalize you for an underestimated tax penalty, basically. And so let's differentiate this for a second and say that if you are a W-2 employee, so, that's somebody who has a job. And by the way, if you want to confuse the listeners even more, you can still be self-employed and still have a W-2 and still be an employee of your own company.
Right,
So,
because you could be running a business on the side.
exactly. Or like, for example, in my case, with JB Financial, I am the employee of my own company. I'm the owner. I do everything, but I still get a paycheck from my company, and I still get a W-2 that's reported. And so this W-2 for an employee, you can think of it as like a tax deposit slip. I mean, it is a paycheck, but it's kind of like a tax deposit slip in the sense that the employer has an obligation to act as the trustee and basically withhold these ordinary income taxes on your income and then deposits them for you on your behalf to the government. And then at year end, when you go file your taxes, you file your W-2, and then it's kind of like a reconciliation. And then you go, oh, yep, this is how much money I paid in ordinary income taxes that was withheld. And if your taxes are less than what was withheld, then you get a refund. And if less was withheld and you have more taxes, then we know you pay the bill. So that's fairly an easy one, right, for a straightforward W-2 employee. But for a self-employed individual, which now we should talk about what I like to call busting the E-nut. And what this is, it's about the entity. So if I'm self-employed, I have choices to make to be taxed and also asset protection. And so one of the questions that most Americans, when they wake up one day and they say, I'm going to start my own business. I'm done working for the corporations. I'm done listening to other people's schedules. Like, I'm going to do my own thing. So they wake up and they start a business. But what they don't understand is that in the eyes of the government, by default, they're being treated as something called a sole proprietor. Or sometimes we call it, to fancy it up, if you have a legal protection behind it, we can call it a single member LLC, limited liability company. But in the eyes of the government, it sees you as an employee and an employer at the same time, and therefore subjects you to a tax that we call FICA tax, Social Security and Medicare. And in the world of a business owner that's a sole proprietor, they pay a mandatory 15.3% tax. And again, there are certain so many hundreds of thousands of dollars, that number changes, but I digress, just for simplicity reasons. We are subjected to a 15.3% mandatory tax, Social Security and Medicare. And the individual who's working for themselves at year end will face this challenge of 15.3% tax, plus ordinary income tax, which is all sources of income that you've earned throughout the year, legal and illegal, by the way. And so then you pay a tax based on the bracket that you fall under. And so So the self-employed individual, like I said, is hit with this 15.3% on all of his net earnings over $400 in his business. And whereas a C corporation does not pay self-employment tax. It's seen as its own complete 100% entity, and it only pays corporate income tax. So there's some variances here in the way when we wake up and decide we want to start a business, we have choices. And we can tell the government what games we want to play. I want to play sole proprietor, or I want to play the game of the S corporation, or I want to play the game of the C corporation. And each one has different rules in terms of how to play the game.
Now, I noticed you didn't say LLC. Is that one of these hidden because you have an LLC?
Yeah, so LLC, so that's great to bring up. So a lot of people will come and have a conversation with me, and they'll be confused about their legal protection and then the ways the government sees them. So one has to kind of separate the two and say, well, one is for legal protection, one is tax. So in the world of legal protection, and I'm not a lawyer, so I don't practice law per se like that. But what I will say is that in the world of protection, we've got the LLC, the limited liability company. And then, of course, we have the corporation, the two types of major protections, right? In the eyes of the government, in terms of taxing you, so Uncle Sam will look back at you and say, oh, you're a sole proprietor or you're a single member LLC, you're going to be taxed by default as a sole proprietor, Schedule C 1040. Fancy words for saying a business return on an individual return. Right. Whereas if you say to the government, yo, so I still want to be an LLC, but I don't want to play with the rules of a sole proprietor. I want to pretend like I'm a corporation. And so then what happens is you can tell the government, I want to play like a corporation plays. And so then the government says, okay, well, what game do you want to play? Pick your piece. And you go, well, I'll pick the S or I'll pick the C. And really what we're doing in that case is we're looking at the tax implications because both of them have different tax structures. And so again, we're looking to see which one is the best benefit to the client when we advise them and say, well, you should be an S or you should be a C. Now, you can also bypass all that and go straight into a C corporation without doing all that fancy moves.
Okay, so is there, real quickly before we run out of time on this segment, is it the less money you make as a corporation, you should be a C or an S, or the more money you make, does that determine which of the C or the S is better for you?
Yeah, so it's a numbers game, it's a crunching game, and it's also an asset protection game. So I'm saying name and game, but it's kind of the same thing. So it really depends. I wish I could make it so easier than that, but the unfortunate thing is it truly depends on each and every individual's personal situation.
Okay, so what I'm going to want to know right after this break that's going to be coming up is that if a person feels that they've made a mistake on their federal tax return, but they've already filed it, is there a way of correcting that? So that's your question for when we're coming back. I'll give you some think time on it. Stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. This show's dedicated to saving money on your taxes. Stay tuned to hear some of the ways that you can save on your taxes coming up.
Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. Our guest tonight is Jonathan Bengel. His website is nakedtaxtalk.com, and he has another website at jbfinancialllc.com. Both of those links you can find on knowthename.com on the schedule page, right along with the link on how to listen to this show. Okay, I want to know, Jonathan,
Yes.
if a person feels like they've made a mistake, but they've already filed, how do they go about correcting it?
Oh, that's the genius. That's the beautiful thing, right, about our government, is that we have the right as a taxpayer to amend our returns to correct any of the mistakes that were made. Now, it's not a free-for-all, so that should be clear. So the way the government likes to talk or says the rules, so the rules of the game go like this. I can amend a return as often as needed to correct the mistake. If I am amending a return for the purpose of getting back money, so a refund, I have 3 years to apply for that refund from the time that return was processed. If I pay taxes and I'm trying to get the taxes back that I overpaid, I have 2 years from the time that I paid those taxes to the government. So there are some rules that kind of affect our ability to go backwards in time. But other than that, though, you can amend a return as often and as frequently as you can and as you want to correct it.
But what about if you think that you're now going to owe more money?
Yeah. So again, if you're going to owe more money, so this is when we talk about revealing missed opportunities to our clients. So the way this works is that a client will come in and they'll say, I need help. I'm basically done paying. I'll use one of my clients, and I've gotten explicit permission from them. But where they said I'm done paying well, they didn't know this. I kind of exposed it, but they were done paying $141,000 to the government year after year. And so we identified some opportunities that had been missed in the prior year that they were legally entitled to deduct from their income. And so we realized that those deductions were not there. And so we, of course, went backwards in time. It's the only time, by the way, that you get to work with anybody is you get to hold our hands and travel back in time virtually. And there is where we basically fix the return to apply for these deductions that they were legally entitled to, and they had the evidence to support it. You see, the government likes the big D. And what I mean by that is they really like documentation. And so as long as the client has the right documentation, from logbooks to the receipts to pictures of home offices, things of that nature, if they have the evidence in their hands and can substantiate the claim, then I personally have no problem going backwards in time and applying for a refund and fixing the mistake. Where it draws a line for me personally and professionally is if I have a client that comes in and says, well, I have all of these deductions that I was entitled to, and I say, yes, you should have deducted all that. And they go, but I only used cash, and I have no receipts, and I have no logbooks. Well, I ethically cannot go backwards and amend that return because I have no defense. And
Right, you have no proof.
I have no proof. So I can't just go make up stuff. I mean, you got to bring me the proof. It's got to be in the pudding, and then we're going to bake a cake and eat it together.
Okay, got it. So normally by now, Jonathan, I've already interpreted my guest's name. So I just want to throw a few things in there, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely. And I'll go wherever you want to go. So we can be as serious or as playful as you'd like to be.
Well, your name tells me, one, that you're absolutely brilliant. It's also in your name that you could make $1 million and you can lose $1 million.
Oh.
But if you do, you will make it again. So it's that you're learning about money, but you have the capability of being a millionaire. It's in your name also that you can bring people to you that become absolutely emotionally unhinged. So I'm sure some people do in that tax office.
Mm-hmm.
Then it says in your name that you would like to make the world a better place.
Yes.
And you don't have any issue standing up for what you believe in or confronting something that you think is wrong or,
Yes.
or whatever. You can stand up for what you believe in instead of going silent. Then your name also says you can juggle a lot of things all at once. That as a gift, as a kid and growing up, and with your story, I love this, that it says that you like money. Okay. And you would just as soon everybody gives you a check so you could compile them and make one big lump sum and get something really that's expensive versus a lot of little things.
Yes.
And what's funny in your name, what I look at as funny is it says you will do the work that is necessary, but you don't want to do any more work than you have to.
Yes. I hope I get to reflect on what you're sharing with me, because I've got some amazing not coincidence, but I have some amazing fortitude behind what you're saying to me, or to basically affirm what you're telling me.
Yeah, well, it's all there. It's just, I mean, there's so much. I can talk for 2 hours on a name. So we want to know right away, are there some things that you could share with us right away that a business can save on their taxes, or something they should be looking at or thinking about that would help them save on their tax dollars?
Yes. So what if I was I am a business owner. So, for example, I've got JB Financial. That was my very first company that I created in 2004. And then I later created Naked Tax Talks, back in July of 2019, which came out of what you just said, which is that I woke up one day and I realized that the world does not like to talk about cash and taxes. And so I went on this long journey to figure out that I realized that we need to talk about personal development. Actually, what we really need to talk about is sex positive. And then we need to talk about our personal lives. And then we need to work through our business lives. And that will be a direct reflection of our cash and our taxes. So when you say I have no quorums about standing up for things, I can tell you so many stories of times that I've stood up for myself and for others. Just what you just said is amazing. But to answer your thing about a business owner, and what I'm looking out for if I'm a business owner is this. You want to save money on taxes? The first thing that one must do is shift the mindset from believing that a tax planner, certified tax planner, is an expense to the business. It's a cost of doing business. One has to shift away from that and see that we are an opportunity and that we are an investment. Because at the end of the day, we are responsible for helping to save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes. And so as a business owner, I'm looking for people like me who know what the heck they're doing. Like I said, I help a client.
So hopefully you would save more money having a tax planner than you're going to spend on the tax planner, in other words.
Absolutely. So I'll give you an example of a recent case. So we are going to save a client we just mentioned earlier $141,000 year after year, and they've paid us upwards in the $50,000 range for the plan. To save $141,000, they're going to pay us $50,000. Actually, they have paid us $50,000. So in many ways, it's not the money. It was never my money anyways. That money was already geared to go to the government. And we just simply said, let us legally find a way to help you save money and pay us to do it and invest with us.
And then they're going to save that amount every year. So it's only,
year.
So they gave you half of it one year and they're saving the rest. So, okay, got it.
Yeah.
So I heard this advice on YouTube and I thought, oh yeah, this sounds corny to me, but I don't know about taxes. So it said that a person could declare bankruptcy and keep their house if their house is being held in an irrevocable trust.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, okay, that sounds funny to me. And then I wanted to know, would it still work if the person's still paying on their mortgage? The reason the person was talking, and he threw that piece in, is he was saying that 60% of the people in the United States right now are having a hard time paying their bills.
Mm-hmm.
And because inflation keeps going up, but the pay is not keeping, solid, whatever. He's saying somewhere that the pay stopped in like 1997 for the buying power, that's about what you're still earning. And yet the cost of everything every 10 years is doubling. Mm-hmm. And so he was saying one of the ways you can at least protect your home so you don't get thrown out on the street is to put it in an irrevocable trust. And then if you have to, every 8 years, declare bankruptcy.
Oh my! Well, I wouldn't advise that.
Well, I wouldn't advise doing bankruptcy either, but I thought, can you protect your house by putting it in an irrevocable trust?
So irrevocable trusts are it. So it is a. I like to call them a tax vehicle. So think of it as a car, right? In that sense, like it's a vehicle, and it is written into tax law. Therefore, it's something I can play with. And what that means, the word irrevocable trust means that I am giving up my rights to the properties or the assets or whatever else that case may be. And in the eyes of the IRS, see, only in business, only in the eyes of the government, can I be married to multiple people? Can I live a polyamorous life? Can You know what I mean? It's the only time, and I can go back in time in history too, right? So it's the only time. And so in the eyes of the government, an irrevocable living trust or an irrevocable trust, if one's deceased, in the eyes of the government, it is seen as a separate entity unto its own. It's like a whole separate jar of coins.
Hold that jar of coins, because we need to go to our next break. Stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You on xzbn.net, and there is a link on knowthename.com schedule page, along with how to get a hold of Jonathan. It's right there in one place. After the break, we'll find out what Jonathan Bengel has in his name that has assisted him that you just might have in your name as well. Stay tuned.
If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide.
They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Ellie Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, The 70-Year Cover-Up Exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world, interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Memorable dynamic presentations are a not-so-secret weapon in the business world. Do you have a powerful message that must be shared, but you haven't found a way to deliver that message? Do you want to be known as a top public speaker who gets amazing results? Are you ready to create and deliver your powerful message? Thomas Hides can help you create and deliver your speech to get the results you desire. Visit iconquality.com.
Did you expect your business to flourish, but instead it plateaued or didn't get off the ground yet? Would you like to achieve massive goals and discover new sources of income within your business? When you're ready to experience that type of success with fast results, Cindy Hendricks is the business coach for you. Her work with entrepreneurs and business owners has been life-changing. To get you and your business where you want to be, go to imaginemoresuccess.com.
Has the fear of public speaking stalled your business or personal life? What would you give to develop and maintain supreme confidence? Have an invaluable private program to always perform at your best. Imagine how you would feel. You can have all that and so much more today with Thomas Hides' life-changing course called Number One Fear Unleashed. Visit numberonefear.com and be liberated from your fear of public speaking.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. Now, our guest tonight is Jonathan Bengel, whose website is Naked Tax Talk, which is currently being worked on. So his other website is JB Financial LLC. Both of them can be found on knowthename.com schedule page. Just click on today's date, and you've got it all right there, plus the link to how to find this on xzbn.net. So, Jonathan, right before the break, we were talking about irrevocable trust. Please continue.
Yeah, so I was just basically saying that in the eyes of the government, this irrevocable trust, it is its own separate entity. And so what happens is that when one decides to title things in the name of their irrevocable trust, they are giving up the power to manage said assets. And so now it's removed from them. And in the eyes of the government, all the ways looking at you go, oh, so you don't own a home. You don't own the business anymore. You don't own your stocks and bonds. You don't own anything. You poor thing, you. And so now you're out. You're poor on the books because it's being stored in an irrevocable trust.
Okay, so but you could still manage that irrevocable trust, correct?
You appoint trustees, you appoint executors, you appoint other people. It's a lot to give up if you put things into an irrevocable trust. And I don't believe, and again, I'm not a trust attorney and I'm not a trust accountant, so I don't proclaim to be an expert in that area. But my understanding is that an irrevocable trust means you cannot take your word back later on down the road.
Right. And which is different than a trust, just a plain trust fund.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Just like a revocable trust. You could say, just kidding. Irrevocable, as the word implies, there ain't going back.
There's no going back. Okay. So before I ask you more questions on financial planning, how does one know if they have to pay taxes on their Social Security benefits?
Good question. All right. So Social Security, it's kind of sad actually now that I think about it, and maybe I'm going to cause some feathers to ruffle here in a minute, but I believe it's so unfair that we have to pay taxes on Social Security income when we get older. And it's not to say that 100% of it is taxed. It's basically a tiered program. So if Social Security is your only source of income, and that's all you get, chances are you're going to pay zero taxes on that benefit amount. Chances are. Now, if you have other sources of income, so you've got still a business, or you have rental properties, or you have your pensions, things of this nature, that an aggregate total starts to exceed what your earnings are, then slowly by surely your Social Security becomes taxable at different tiers. And if I'm correct, the first $25,000 in gross aggregate revenue, your benefits are your Social Security benefits are tax free. They max out at 85% is taxable. So it maxes out. So if you're in the high end, and I believe if your aggregate amount is 75,000 or more, something like that, then 85% of your Social Security benefits are taxed.
See, and I look at that as just highway robbery. You put that money in, you ought to be able to get that money back out without paying taxes on it again.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that kind of reminds me of what happened to me in Oregon. When I was teaching in Oregon, we had state taxes and federal taxes. And the school district where I was overpaid my state taxes so that I got a refund on the state taxes. And the following year, when I did my taxes, they told me that I made a mistake because I hadn't included what they paid me back as income.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, wait a minute, I already paid taxes on that last year's income, and you were just refunding it. It was like withdrawing it out of a savings account that I'd put too much money in. And they said, oh, no. When we give it back to you, we include it as new income, and you have to pay taxes on it.
So what that is, and this is important, if you itemized on your tax return, so with the tax cut that happened in 2018, it bumped up that standard deduction really high that a lot of people no longer itemize. I mean, I can't say for everybody. I just know that just because it's so high. But so the rule was, and still is, if you itemized on your tax return, so you filled out a Schedule A, and you deducted what you paid to the state, and then the following year, or that year when you filed your taxes and you got a refund, in the eyes of the IRS, it is considered taxable income to you because you deducted it from your income in the year before as a deduction to taxes. And so it's basically they're allowing you to take the benefit, but they are going to recapture it in the following year.
See, and I didn't do a Schedule A. But anyway.
That's interesting. We should talk.
Yeah, but I looked at that and I went, okay, I'm moving out of Oregon. I'm not going to be double taxed on money that I didn't already deduct and whatnot. It should just be given back to me and let go. Anyway, there was enough other tax issues that I just went, you know what? I'm not working here anymore.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if your listeners are listening and they're wondering how in the heck do we change these, it's your Congress members. It's the people that we elect to Congress. They are ultimately writing the law, and therefore we're following what they're saying. And like I like to tell people, being an IRS enrolled agent and a certified tax coach and a planner is that we're at the forefront of the law as it's changing, and it's literally changing moment by moment. And so you get it voted and written into law and signed into law by Congress, and then you have all of the interpretations that come after that. So you've got like the Treasury departments in there interpreting the rules, committees and commissions are interpreting the rules, organizations are interpreting the rules, and so by the time you know it, you don't even know what's up and down. And so I like to say that taxes is like dating. One day they want to date you, and the next they don't.
Okay, so So, Jonathan, I have a real basic question. At what point in someone's business income, because some people are really small business owners and maybe they make $40,000 a year, and other people could just maybe make 80 to 100,000, and other people can do incredibly well. So, at what income should a private business owner decide that I'm at the breaking point and now I would benefit from having a tax planner?
Quite honestly, it's at any income level. It's a matter of what they're willing to invest. And so what I mean by this is that I had a company that came in, three young guys, and they created I'll give a shout out to them, Pop and Tea Bar, and they created a Pop and Tea Bar. They created a boba tea bar here in Phoenix. And it was a startup, and they had no idea what they were going to do with their business, and in much less the tax implication. And they did the right thing. They came and sought out a professional like myself who from the very beginning was able to give them a very detailed plan of what their next years will look like together as partners and what that meant to them in the world of taxes. And so my fees were basically relevant to what I knew I could produce for them and what I could ultimately add value to their business. Because once again, I'm a firm believer that the right tax planner is not a cost to doing business. We are an investment. And at the end of the day, I want to be invested in my client because I know that if I can save them money and I can make them successful, I have a client for life. And I have clients that go back 16 years now, sorry.
Okay, so is it best to find a tax planner that's in your own state so they also know your state laws, or does it matter?
Great question. I love how I keep saying great question. But so because they have the good questions. The truth of the matter is that no, you do not have to just stay with someone in your own town or your own city or your own state. As an IRS enrolled agent, I have no borders. So if you live in Canada, I have a few Canadian clients. If you live in Canada and you have income in the United States, we can work with you. I'm in Arizona, but you're in California or wherever else, and you have issues going on over there, we can also help you. So we're not bound by the borders in which we live in. That's the big difference, by the way, between me and a certified public accountant, a CPA, because I'm not a CPA. And a CPA can only practice where they're licensed. So that's like a one-up for me, is I can practice wherever I want.
Fabulous. So, guys, if you want to get a hold of Jonathan, again, you can go to his website, jbfinancialllc.com or nakedtaxtalk.com, which will be back up and running eventually. Okay. So, Jonathan, thank you so much for joining me and all of our listeners and sharing your wisdom with them. It is much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on as a guest, and I hope I was able to answer some questions, and I appreciate it, and and as far as like, if I may give a shameless plug for a Naked Tax Talk, it's not what people think it is. It's a place where we openly come together and get into a bathrobe, and we talk about taxes, business development, taxes, business development, personal development, and sex positive. Because at the end of the day, I know that when all of that gets fixed up, this is when we start to make real money.
So be prepared, surprised, and pleased when you get to experience Jonathan Bengel's work. Now, his website, again, is nakedtaxtalk.com and jbfinancialllc.com. Now, Jonathan Bengel's name indicates he has always been brilliant and able to hold his own. Brilliance is located in his first letter of his name being a J. That's also first letter of a J means they can be a millionaire if they want to. And holding his own is in the TH combo. So if your name starts with a J, then you can be brilliant also and also have that capability of being a millionaire. And TH, anywhere in the name, is for being able to hold your own. Do you know where your genius lies? I'm Sharon Lynn Wyatt, host of the radio show, Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which is heard every weekday at various hours right here on xzbn.net radio, an X-Zone radio station, and there's a link on knowthename.com. So this is Sharon Lynn Wyatt signing off.